Okay, so I guess we are going to start. So welcome, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Carol Ann McCormick, and I work at Knollwood in the sales and marketing offices. And with me today is my colleague, Jim Michaels. He is the Vice President of Advancement for ADF.
That's correct. All right, good morning.
And you're going to learn all about ADF today. If you have any questions, you can ask them throughout. And the way that you would ask them is hover your mouse along the bottom of the screen, and you will see either a Q&A box where you can type in your question or a chat box where you can type in your question. And Jim, I think we have a couple of people watching today that have never, that aren't familiar with Knollwood or the foundation. So I'm going to do a quick little cutaway to tell the newcomers about Knollwood.
Yeah, good. Great history.
So I won't go into history, that's your job. But
Yeah.
okay, so we're going to quickly give you a little bit about Knollwood. And this is a really beautiful community. If you haven't been to Knollwood before, you need to come and visit us. So we are on 16 acres. It's heavily wooded. We're in a neighborhood. You're never going to know that you're going to see this community nestled with all these houses. Knollwood is strictly for people age 62 plus. And there are also health and financial qualifiers. In addition to being age 62, health has got to be good. If you're having a little bit of trouble, there is assisted living. But for independent living, good health and good finances that would likely last your life expectancy. Knollwood has really 5 levels of living. The largest segment is for people who are independent. Some people still work, some people volunteer, some people enjoy retirement. But independent living is the largest neighborhood at Knollwood. And then Knollwood also has a small assisted living neighborhood. And yes, people can sometimes move right to assisted living without having lived in independent living first. So if you know of someone having trouble, call us. And we also have a small nursing center that has 3 different service lines: inpatient rehab, long-term nursing care, and long-term memory care. So that's a little bit of the overview, but some of you may not know what is a life plan community. So Knollwood is one of those communities. Most life plan communities are nonprofit, but not all. And every life plan community has at a minimum independent living and skilled nursing. There are rental communities that don't offer skilled nursing. They do not have a skilled nursing license, and they are not life plan communities. Now you want to learn about how did Knollwood come about and what is this foundation. So Jim is going to be talking with you next.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Caroline. To give a little background on the name of the organization, Army Distaff Foundation, we shortened it because we're no longer an Army or just purely military, but ADF. The focus really from the beginning, it was founded by women, which is very interesting in and of itself. Late 50s, early 60s. They did everything. Yeah, they raised all the money and they built the initial campus with kind of a particular idea in mind, which is they really wanted to provide a compassionate community. That was the idea: provide a community that created great health and wellness services, just really bonded and pulled people together, really kind of created a family. And that was kind of the idea of people who lived here then and then live here now. There was obviously a vision too. They wanted us to be focused on kind of aging services and just providing good programs and good activities for people to really enjoy their golden years. So that was really important to the founders as well. We do have a value system here, which is community accountability, which is really important, particularly if you're a non-for-profit. Accountability is important. Respect and excellence.
And if you kind of notice, the C, the A, the R, and the E of those first words of values are a little bit larger in font, and they spell care.
They spell care. And that was definitely true from the founders, and that's been the legacy of the organization all the way through. And I think that's what separates a not-for-profit life plan community from some other types of communities that, although they provide great service, I think there's a kind of an added kind of an element to it that is really really evident.
And especially with accountability.
Yes.
Okay.
So here's a couple of kind of key dates in the founding, and the idea for Knollwood began in the 30s. 58, 59, they pulled together a lot of volunteers. This all occurred kind of in the DC metro region, really is where this was all, the activity was. They wanted to build a singular community here as a starter, and then it did inspire other communities down over the years, which is nice. The first lady at the time, that was Lady Bird Johnson. In 1962, she came here and she had a ribbon cutting ceremony, and they opened up the community to the first 16 residents. They set up a financial assistance fund at that point in time, which we still maintain today. By 1963, it was 100% full. Probably, it was great.
Lived here, do you know?
Probably in about 125,
Okay, so
something like
it's,
that, a little over numbers. Yeah, it grew from there. Campus, they've been expanded over the years.
Mhm.
68, they added a health service center, which was licensed. The Knollwood Resident Association came into being. 89, they expanded eligibility. It used to be only women in 1989, but they expanded it to men, and they expanded it to all the certain little, yeah, those are a lot of, I don't know who those first men were, but very, yeah, they were adventuresome. And they expanded obviously to all the service branches, and now we're open to kind of all walks of life and all of interest. So it's well beyond all that now. 93 was assisted living was built, and in 2008 they added a special care center. 2013 they expanded the community a little bit with more independent living. And as it says there, open to all with health, age, and financial quality. So open to all backgrounds now. It's not a military organization really any longer.
Yeah. And I would like to say too, that the resident association president is also a voting board member, and because the foundation has a board that oversees Knollwood.
Yeah, very active resident community, which is great. A lot of input from the residents.
Yes, Jim and I know, because we get to go to those board meetings.
Yeah. We were talking a little bit about activities and programs and kind of some of the early ideas and what's been developed since all those early years. But really, we do have a wellness model here. We do look at how to provide quality of life for people that's really kind of hits all these kind of key areas. So you'll see that there: physical, environmental, occupational, social, spiritual, emotional, financial, intellectual. So when you look at a calendar, if you come to the campus, and Carolyn and your team would show you all these things as well. There's a wide variety of activities here: day trips, field trips, museums. A lot of DC offers a lot. So this is really a kind of a helpful approach to kind of giving people that live in the community kind of really enjoyable life here.
And again, if you have questions while Jim is talking, you can key them in and we'll make sure he answers them.
Kind of highlight a couple of things. There's more than just two, but just two that kind of come to mind initially. One area that foundation really is helpful is to provide innovative programming, things that may not be something that we could necessarily do in and of themselves. The initial founders and subsequent leaders really wanted to kind of have an eye towards aging services and kind of being ahead of the curve. And so we kind of developed a couple different programs that are spotlighted here. One is on the left. It's Exobionics, which is part of our rehab program. So people that ever had rehab care, we use this for inpatient as well as outpatient, but it's a program that's downstairs in our rehab center. And then on the right, we do have an integrated therapy system as well, which it's almost 100% of the independent resident communities who use that system at one point or another now. It's well over 100 plus residents. Very popular, very enjoyable, and it's quite a novel program. When we talk to other communities, they don't have any of these things. We have other relationships that are important. We have some university partnerships that we work with. We have a Macon Tech Lab that we use that residents love. Yeah,
that's fun. I think it evolved from like a craft room.
Yeah,
because there is an art studio. No, it was a craft room, but then through the foundation, it now has like die cut machines,
3D printer.
Yeah, 3D printer, sewing machines that are running off of digital programming, light rings,
right?
IMAX, regular computers, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, the residents love it. They really do a great job with it.
Oh, there's a couple questions. One is I'll answer, and one I'll give to Jim to answer. But can outside people have therapy at Knollwood? Inpatient therapy sometimes. So if you find yourself in the hospital and your discharge planner is telling you need to go to a nursing center for a therapy, for a rehab stay, call us. We don't always have room because we make sure we have room for anyone who lives here. And Knollwood's nursing center is small. but you can call, from time to time we do. And the space available would be for somebody who's gonna definitely be going back to their house afterward um. And not having to live in a nursing center thereafter, because those spaces are for residents.
Right.
And then someone wants to know, how does the foundation assist residents financially?
Okay, so, you know, heaven forbid anyone were to be in financial need, they outlive their resources. We have about 9 to 10 people that qualify for what's called the Financial Assistance Fund. So the Financial Assistance Fund will help kind of close any financial gaps in someone's ability to live here in order to kind of maintain their life here at home. So it depends on the person, it depends on the program for that individual, it depends how much the need is. But yeah, that's what the financial assistance fund is.
And usually what would happen is, if somebody everybody who comes here to live goes through a financial review before coming here, and the objective is that they're not living beyond their resources when they come here to live. But no one ever knows what the future will bring. So if somebody does have financial trouble later in life, then they work with our finance department to figure out how much should the foundation help them out. Because people might still have a pension and social security, but they might need things, money for car insurance or medication or,
Yeah. And the financial assistance fund will, just to Carol Ann's point, it will kind of cover different things that are not able to be met. So it could be room and board, parts of that, it could be parts of the nursing care that's not covered through insurance, meals, things of that sort.
Yeah, assisted living care, if that's what's needed, yeah. Mhm. So it's individualized.
Individual.
Those
Very
are great
personal.
questions, yeah. Thanks for submitting your questions.
So next slide. That's great. All right, so Knollwood's operating right now. As a lifeline community, obviously, there's operating revenue that comes into the community that's through the entrance fees of residents that people that choose to live here, and then ongoing revenue that is from residents that live here as well. Those revenues help fund amenities, programs, and services. They fund the campus operations, including facilities and staff, and they fund the healthcare services. So that's kind of where the operating revenue goes to here. But where the foundation comes into play is really kind of going from good to great in a sense, meaning it does cover the financial assistance for residents that do qualify, as we just spoke about. There are certain building and grounds needs. We do have a 16-acre campus. We have significant. We have a big campus, large building, multiple buildings actually.
Lots of big old trees.
Lots of trees. So there's a lot to take care of here in a community like this, in a building like this, facilities. So what the foundation will help do is maybe raise some funds to kind of improve up space, add an amenity space, meet some capital projects that need to be met that couldn't be covered through the normal planning purposes. So that's important. We do invest in staff for staff development, because obviously this is a person-centered business, and we have to invest in our people. So that's where the foundation could help augment operating revenues to kind of get some professional development for anybody that works here. And then we do fund some of the innovation and care programs. So some of the things that I just spoke about earlier in the last slide, 2 slides back, those were actually resourced through fundraising, both the EXO and this Finest integrated therapy systems, a number of things that make in tech space. The art cafe was helped in fundraising as well.
The art cafe is what Knollwood calls its art studio.
Yeah.
And they're actually art classes where professional instructors come in for things like sketching, drawing classes, writing classes, painting, collage.
Very active arts programs here, I would think. And they actually have an annual show, art show, which is great. And it gets judged. And I think they have an outside professor that comes in and runs the judging. So it's quite good.
And sometimes the foundation too also has like entertainment programs, like music.
Tons. So one thing the foundation does do too, and it's also part of our normal programming, but for example, like the foundation sponsors Louis Prima Jr. band. They come in here once a year and they do a performance. There's other bands that come in that are sponsored by the foundation as well, but music's a big thing here. Lectures are a big thing here. We do have a lot of relationships with outside organizations, and because DC is very rich in organizations and institutions that can have people coming in volunteering or teaching and doing different programs here. So it's a really great from the program perspective.
Now, there've been some great lectures from different professors from like Georgetown, George Washington University, George Mason
Yeah.
University.
Well, I know they're wonderful.
Lucy's flipping us back and forth here, isn't she? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and as you can see, there's a lot to read on this slide, but this webinar today is being recorded. So if you don't get to read all the fine print on the blue on the left here, you can also pop back onto the Knollwood website on by Thursday. This webinar will have been posted because we're recording it while we're on right now.
Yeah, and then on the Knollwood website, there's also a tab there for the foundations. Read all about the foundation there as well.
Yep, and vice versa. So you can flip flop between the two different sites.
So it's a very active community. We have a lot of supporters that live here. We also have a lot of supporters that are corporate supporters, foundations, and other individuals that care about Knollwood. And so it does have its benefits. There's a couple different societies here, which kind of add a dimension of socialization for people that want to also support the organization. So you can kind of see those there. And you can read more about those as Carolyn and Benjamin. We also have a number of different, we have our own calendar as well. So if you have any questions about the foundation, you certainly could call us, or you could go to the foundation website as well. But we have a couple different things that are important. You can see the top photo there. We do an annual camaraderie classic golf tournament. This is mostly for people that live outside the community. There's a lot of corporate partners that go to it. And the fundraising supports Knollwood and also funds a partner organization we work with, which is Homes for Our Troops, which builds specially adapted homes. And you can see from that person there, this is someone that served in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Definitely would have benefited from an adapted home.
Yeah. So last year, I think we raised a little over $100,000, which was great. We do have a spring appeal. We have an awards gala, so we'll be going into our 27th year. In that photo there is General Jack Keane, who's the chairman of Knollwood and of the foundation. And to his right there is Barbara Humpton. She's the CEO of Siemens USA. So we do get corporate partners. And so that's Miss Humpton there. She'd had a great history as well of being involved in aging services and supporting the military in different ways, innovation as well. So she had a lot of different reasons to be named. And
Who was the one prior to her? It was related to COVID.
Yes, the year before that, we had Dr. Deborah Burke.
Yes.
And we had Brian Cavaney.
Yes.
Dr. Brian Cavaney, who's the president of LabCorp. The LabCorp was very helpful to us when we were doing testing for COVID.
They saved us.
They were very helpful.
Yeah.
And then we have a Maxwell and a Lydia Taylor dinner. So that's a society for people that choose to support the foundation. We have that dinner every year around Christmas, well, before Christmas, early December.
Is it too soon to say who the recipient is this year?
No, we do know who our recipient is this year. This year it's going to be Miss Catherine B. Reynolds. And someone really, I recommend people look up and check out. Miss Reynolds has a long history in the region of being very philanthropic and supportive of organizations. So we're glad that she's going to be the nominee this year. And so yeah, it'll be a great event with her. We do the event right here in Knollwood.
Is it Catherine with a C or a K?
Catherine with a C.
Okay, so if you Google Catherine Reynolds, use a C.
Exactly.
And the number on here is the direct phone number to Jim's department for the development department, the fundraising arm of Knollwood and ADF. So if you call that number, it's a direct line to development. So you could call, and who knows, maybe somebody out there wants to make a gift or learn more, about the foundation. You could call that number. You can ask for Jim directly. Will is a colleague of Jim's that sometimes answers that number as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So yes, you could just say, hey, we're watching the webinar and we're calling in.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so, well, if you have any more questions for Jim, now's the time to key them in, because I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to learn more about Knollwood. So we have our website, which is listed there, knollwoodcommunity.org. You can also go to the ADF site through the Knollwood site as well. And so Knollwood has like a little news and info area. Our website is updated periodically. We have some fresh imagery up of recent. This video will be posted on Thursday, but if you haven't seen any of the other webinars for Knollwood, they're kind of neat to go look at, and you can find them under the news and events menu. There's a webinar page, and if you go about halfway down the webinar page, you will see the past recordings. Some of them are more educational based about Knollwood specifically, or about the difference between independent living and assisted living, but some of them are more fun and influential, where you can meet people who live here. And every one of the meet the residents or webinars has different people on them. So there might be 8 or 9 of them out there, but you're going to meet through those 8 or 9 webinars, probably 25 different Knollwood residents. So that's kind of fun to learn about people who live here. And our next webinar is September 12th. If you want to learn more about Knollwood and see it in person, Helen and Heidi's phone numbers are up there. And again, if you want to learn more about the foundation, we had Jim's phone number up just a couple minutes ago. Anything you want to add at the last
No.
one? We did this pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly.
Gosh, Alicia's already. Okay, well, thank you all for tuning in, and we hope to see you before next month in person.
Yeah.
And Jim hopes to get a call from you.
Yeah, exactly. Have any questions, feel free to call us.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
All right.